In the beginning, this family looks like just any other ordinary family. They reside in a quiet suburban street in an unnamed American city. Their father Daniel is currently unemployed, placing the burden of supporting the family on his wife Lacy, who works as a real estate agent. Their two sons, Jesse and Sammy, love to communicate with each other every night using walkie-talkie. Strange and scary events start to occur on the house. On the first night, Lacy wakes up to check around her house. She goes downstairs and sees a lot of mess in their kitchen. Someone broke into their house and scattered the food all around the floor. The family thought it was just some kind of hungry animal.
What kind of animal eats all the lettuce but leaves the bacon?
The second night, Lacy wakes up again, and she finds small appliances in the kitchen were rearranged and stacked up in bizarre configurations. Then there's also strange marble shadows appear on the ceiling. Sammy says that it was the Sandman who did it, and the Sandman has visited him that night.
And did he tell you to do this?
He did it himself.
Sign of forced entry. Sure all the doors and windows.
The next morning, Daniel called the police to check, but the officer implying that this could be done by one of their kids. The third night, the house alarm is suddenly set off, waking everyone in the house. Surprisingly, the 8 alarm sensors around the house were breached all at once.
What kind of malfunction? What sensor was tripped?
All of them.
What?
And what more terrifying is, all family photos in the living room were gone. Daniel called the police again, but the police officer still stand on his opinion that all these weird incidents might be caused by one of their children. The mechanics also found no error in the alarm system. Lacy and Daniel interrogate their kids, asking about the missing photos. Little Sammy says it was the Sandman who did it.
He told me not to say.
Daniel doesn't believe what Sammy said and starts searching his son's bedroom, looking for the photos.
Just tell him where the photos are.
I'm gonna take them.
It was the youngest one, Sammy, who started to suffer a weird episode. While playing at the playground, Sammy suddenly freezes and wet his pants. When Daniel checks on him, Sammy starts screaming. Meanwhile, Lacy, who stays at home, is shocked when hundreds of birds suddenly crash into the house. Their house was covered with blood and dead birds all over the place. Another night has come. Lacy is awakened by a sound from Sammy's room. When she goes to check on him, through the darkness, she sees a weird-looking figure standing over his son's bed. She turns on the light, but no one is in that room. Sammy is found walking away from the house. He is sleepwalking, and when Sammy regains consciousness, he cannot remember anything.
Why are we outside?
I saw someone in Sam's room.
Lacy told her husband that she saw things, but Daniel didn't believe her. Daniel himself starts to get weird rashes at the back of his ear. Daniel installs security cameras throughout the house. He stays up late, hoping to catch whatever it is that's disturbing their home. The next day when he wakes up, he sees some glitches on the screen, but he doesn't know what these are yet. The rest of the family members also start having these catatonic episodes. Lacy was showing a house on sale to her customer when she suddenly lost her consciousness and started banging her head against the window glass. She wakes up a few hours later with a bruise on her head, without any memory of what happened.
Oh my god.
Greatly disturbed by the various phenomena afflicting the family and the house, Lacy begins to search online for answers and find articles attributing some of what they have experienced to UFOs and reports of alien abduction. In another night, Daniel is sleepwalking. He goes to the yard and just stands there with his mouth wide open. Lacy follows him and tries to wake her husband, and suddenly blood comes out of Daniel's nose.
You don't remember getting out of bed?
Lacy tells Daniel what she researched on the internet. She suspects that all this terror are happening because of aliens, and she experienced a blackout today, waking up with a bruise on her head.
Aliens. That's insane.
But Daniel still doesn't believe her. Lacy also showed a picture drawn by a kid who was abducted by aliens years ago. Their son Sammy made the exact same drawing. But eventually, the two had a rough argument.
No.
What other explanation do you have?
Another strange event happened while Sammy is going for a swim. One of the family neighbors found bruise marks all over Sammy's body.
Sammy, come here, let me take a look at you.
People start to think that Lacy and Daniel hit their kids.
Sammy, I need you to tell me who did this to you.
As for Jesse, his episodes happened while he was playing with his friend named Ratner. He just suddenly freezes, then starts acting as if he's being possessed by a demon. Jesse was rushed to a hospital after his episode.
Found some unusual marks on your son's body. They appear to have been applied with a brand.
The doctor who treated him also found many strange marks on his body. These marks look very similar to the one that Lacy saw on the kitchen ceiling a few nights ago. Daniel attacked Jesse's friend Ratner. He assumed that it was Ratner who did this to Jesse, but Ratner's dad knocked him out. The neighbors now really believe that Lacy and Daniel are often beating their kids. Lacy and Daniel are getting frustrated and starts to throw their emotions at each other. The next following night, Daniel had a nightmare about Sammy. He wakes up and decides to check on the security camera. Daniel reviews the camera recorded footage frame by frame, and he finally reveals 3 dark figures standing over their beds while they were sleeping. Daniel tells Lacy that he now believes that the aliens are hunting them. Lacy and Daniel seek help from a conspiracy theorist named Edwin Pollard. Pollard called these aliens as their greys. The aliens are already here since a long time ago, and they are conducting experiments on humans.
That's how they control you.
Pollard was also subject to this aliens experiment. He warns Lacy and Daniel that most cases will end in a child abduction. The person who the alien first make contact with is usually the one who will be abducted.
You fight them with everything you've got.
To protect his family, Daniel buys a shotgun, and Lacy buys an aggressive guard dog. Pollard told them that dogs can sense these aliens. The family spends July 4th boarding up the windows of the house. They eat dinner together and remembering about their happier times in the past.
I carried you all the way up.
Suddenly, the house lights begin to flicker and the dog starts barking ferociously. The aliens are finally coming for them. Daniel makes his last stand at the front door as the aliens are trying to break in. The nails on the board starting to fall down by an invisible power. Lacy sends the boys upstairs and stand guard outside the door. Lacy hears the TV in her bedroom turned on. She walks towards her room, but an alien suddenly standing directly behind her. The alien trapped Lacy in her bedroom. Daniel runs upstairs to get Jesse and Sammy. He breaks through the door and frees Lacy. Now all four of them hide in this bedroom, and they barricade the door. The gray aliens slowly appear in the room out of nowhere, as if they can teleport themselves. Jesse blacks out and experiences a hallucination. He sees his father commit suicide alongside his mother's bloody dead body. He also sees Sammy sitting and crying in the hallway. He reaches onto Sammy and suddenly he wakes up in the upstairs hallway of his house. The aliens appear and surrounds him. The rest of the family are helpless. They can only scream as a bright beam of light takes Jesse and the alien away. Three months later, due to financial crisis, the family moved into a small apartment. Now they must face trial after being accused to be responsible of Jesse's disappearance. As Lacy is going through some old things, she finds pictures that Jesse drew as a child. That shows the aliens surrounding him. Jesse was actually the one who had been chosen since the very first beginning. Then all of a sudden, a feedback emanates from a nearby walkie-talkie. Jesse's faint voice calling Sammy's name. Sammy! Is Jesse still alive, or this is just another part of the aliens' experiment? Sadly, this is where the movie ends. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe. We have more movies coming for you.